This is John Zaninovich. Welcome to Move My Mass. You'll be hearing from great guests talk about balancing life and being fit. Welcome to another episode of Move My Mass. Looking forward to today's guest. We're going to talk football. He has made it to the top, played in the NFL, had his time there, and now is coaching young kids here in Bakersfield as part of Ferguson Athletics. Can't wait to talk some football today. So all you football players, tune in, and especially you quarterbacks. Tyler, welcome to Move My Mass.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Can't wait to chat with you today.
No, absolutely. I'm excited.
I don't know much about football, but we're going to get into it.
Yeah, it's best sport in the world.
There you go. So making it to the NFL, which is absolutely amazing. When did you first know as a kid, or where in your life did you know that you had something special and that was going to be a possibility?
I don't think I ever really thought like, wow, I have something, inside of me that's better than everybody else. I just probably was pretty naive to maybe how hard it was, and would always just talk to my dad. I don't really young, even like elementary school, that like, yeah, we're definitely going to go play varsity football, and we're going to go play Division I football, and then we're going to go to the NFL. There was no, I hope I do this, I hope I do that. I just thought like, this is what's going to happen, and this is what we're going to do, and it's going to be a lot of fun. My dad's like favorite line to me that I'll always remember. He would always say, "Look, someone has to go to the NFL, right? So why can't it be you?" And I would just kind of think about that, like, yeah, he's right. Like, it's not like they're just pulling NFL guys from Mars,
That is great support.
So I always just
say that to you.
Yeah, I always just thought like, yeah, why not? Let's just play football and it's fun. And I didn't think about everything that had to happen. I just thought like, go play high school and get a scholarship and then get drafted and call it a day.
Yeah.
So
along that process, once you got closer to knowing those dreams, or even before the NFL, let's say, as you know, man, I'm going to go D1. Was there a point where your workout started to change, or your work ethic started to change, or were you always, what was your work ethic? Was it always crazy?
Yeah.
Or did you say, oh my gosh, okay, this is going to turn into something big. I'm going to kick it up a notch. Which direction did you go with your workouts?
No, yeah. So I actually I do the same workout. I do the same workout program I do now is the same thing I did when I was playing. So I didn't really work out a whole lot, early, like when I was really young. And then I don't know, maybe like 15, 16, I started working out at 4 a.m. at 24-Hour Fitness on Gosford.
There you go.
And did that every day, like 7 days a week.
Yeah.
And then the years just turned into years. And then it became like, not obsessive, but it just wasn't weird anymore. Like people started to know like, well, Tyler just wakes up at 3 and goes and works out. And,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And that just never changed. So I did that through, the second half of high school. I did that through college. I did that in the NFL, and I did that this morning. But now it's just, there's no 24-Hour Fitness on Gosford anymore. Now it's, we have a gym at the house that we use, but, yeah, nothing really crazy, nothing going down here, going there, flying here. I mean, it was just wake up at 3, leave the house at 3:20, get to the gym at 3:30, 3:35, and at 3:50 exactly, the workout starts. And yeah, we did that for years and years,
And back then, what was your split? I mean, okay, so you got your weight training, your conditioning, and then you have your skills training. Mm-hmm. Did that change much?
Not really. So, I had a trainer, Pat Brown. He's still in Bakersfield.
Right, I know Pat.
Yeah, and really, it wasn't necessarily like we didn't make these crazy workout programs and do all that. Me and him were more so just like workout partners. So I would just get there, and we kind of knew what we were going to work out every day. Like I knew Wednesdays and Sundays were leg days, and Sunday was a brutal leg day. And Pat kind of taught me like Sunday starts your week. Monday doesn't start your week. You don't take a lazy Sunday and not do anything and then try to get up and go Monday. And I like that. So Sunday was like our Monday, and we would just do a brutal lower body workout. And yeah, I just like really trusted him. And then, kind of as I started to move away out of Bakersfield, I would kind of keep the same style of training that we would do. We would do just a ton of circuit training, but heavy weights, basic movements, nothing crazy, but maybe high reps, as heavy as you can go, supersetting with 2 or 3 different things. Right or wrong, that's what I liked and what's worked for me, and still what I do now. And then as far as on the field stuff, I never had a quarterback coach. I just threw, I probably threw 5 million balls in the front yard with my dad, just after school, before school. We'd go to the park and train. We'd go to the high school and train. But it was throwing wise, just me and my dad. That was it.
Yeah.
We would just throw.
Right.
And it was as simple as, this feels off. Why does this feel off? I don't know. Let's tinker with it. It wasn't like, this is exactly how you do it.
You didn't have video.
No, we were just
watching yourself.
Yeah. So, we would throw probably like twice a day, but it was, we didn't go see somebody. We didn't do this. And not because we didn't want to, there just wasn't anybody in Bakersfield. If you wanted to go do something, it was in LA. Well, that's a 2-hour drive and a 2-hour session and 2 hours back. And so, yeah, we were a pretty close-knit group. It was simple. It was easy.
Right.
You wake up early, get your work in, and then you throw.
It is simple, but however, you did it.
Yeah.
And that's the not simple part. And that's the difference.
Yeah.
Between getting there and not getting there. Is it? Yeah, it is. All I do is wake up and go work out.
Yeah.
Okay. Now to the person that's not doing that, well, you did get up and go work out.
Right. Yeah.
And
yeah,
that's hard. That is like, I don't know if it's unteachable, but that's the part somebody needs to do.
Yeah. No, for sure. And, we would always invite people like to come work out with us in the morning. And, you'd get someone that'd come for like a week or like a day, maybe a month, but nobody would ever kind of stay. And I don't know. I didn't think of it as anything other than like, this is just what you do,
Right.
I can't go at 6 because I have school at 7.
Yeah.
But I can't go after school because I have practice. I'm for sure not going to go at night. And, one thing that I always thought was like at 4 a.m., nobody has anything to do. No phone calls. If you have kids, they're probably asleep. Your wife's asleep. You for sure don't have to be in your office at 4. Right. So that was kind of what I thought about, was I don't have any other obligations, right, at 4.
Right.
So if I can just get up and go, I can go. And now, now nothing changes. I for sure don't have time between 5:30 a.m. and usually about 8 p.m. to work out. And I'm not going to come home at 8 and be like, sorry, babe, got to go work out.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You want to work out, get up, go, be done by 5.
Yeah. And I would love for all the young athletes of any sport to, really hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
It's consistency, discipline. Doesn't matter. Maybe somebody has the time at 2 p.m. It's not that, it's not the fact that it's getting up at 4 or 3 that's making, it's just whatever time that is, go get it done.
For sure.
And do it consistently.
Yeah.
Do it over the long haul. And that is strong advice for young athletes of any sport. I
think you just need to make a schedule. I write everything out on like just a notebook. Even to today, like when we do our scheduling for quarterbacks, everything's written out when I'm scheduling whatever I'm going to be doing. But I think the first step, it's really hard to just cold turkey start waking up at 3 and working out. It's probably, it's not going to last. So if you can just make consistent times to do something,
right, that's
the first step. You know what I mean? And then I think people would be amazed at like kind of how that builds and builds and builds and builds. And you look back a year after you've started and you're like, wow, man, didn't realize everything I got done.
Yeah. And what At what point in your college career did you know I'm probably going to the big leagues? Was there a moment, or was it gradual over time?
No, so actually, like, my college career was horrible. So like it couldn't have went any worse. And like I think we're finally getting to a point where like we can kind of like joke about it, but it was really bad. So coming out of Ridgeview, had no offers, nothing. And I thought for sure, like, out of coming out, I didn't think that I was probably going to go to like Alabama or something, but I thought, like a Fresno or like a Washington, like a school like that we'd been talking to, like, well, someone's going to pull the trigger. Like, whoever does, I'll just commit there. And that's where we go.
Yeah.
Well, nothing really happened. And then like halfway through my senior year, I actually broke my collarbone, which was a very easy injury to recover from. I mean, I had a surgery, but Kurt Wingate had me back in like literally like 3 weeks throwing.
Wow.
So I didn't think like, wow, this is going to alter my recruiting, because there really wasn't a recruiting to alter. You know what I mean?
Right.
So senior year came and went. And I ended up going to College of the Sequoia, which was in Visalia. Mm-hmm. And that was like the best decision in my whole life I've ever made. I went there, had full support, from the head coach. And I tell kids a lot now that junior colleges can be your best friend, but you have to go somewhere where you're wanted. You have to be the guy. Like, once you're at junior college, your time is ticking, right? Like, I don't have time to go here, sit, get beat out in a competition, transfer to another one, because you're done. Like, you have that one season after your high school season to do something.
And you better be the man.
You better be the guy.
Yeah.
So if that means you have to go to the worst school in the country to be the guy, do it. But I went to COS, and I don't really remember how that whole thing transpired. I just my dad and I got a call from the coach. We drove up there and both kind of agreed up there that this is what we're going to do. And so I went there, and it was great, put up huge numbers and did the whole deal and got offers all over the place. And so high school is kind of irrelevant at that point, because it's like, well, I'm here, right? I'm back on the path that I thought I was going to be on. And so I ended up committing to Penn State with Bill O'Brien. And that first year at Penn State, I ended up losing the quarterback competition. So I came in the number 2 quarterback, number 2 player in the country for junior college. Well, we had the number 1 high school player in the country come in at quarterback as well. His name was Christian Hackenberg, and Christian was really good. There wasn't like a lot of guys at that point in my career that I'd been around that I thought like, wow, this guy's good. I always thought like I could throw with anybody. And he was somebody that I remember, like, our first day I got there in spring, he came in fall. So I had a little leg up, and he came in fall, and I like called my dad and was like, Dad, this guy's legit.
Yeah.
Like, this guy is really good. Basically as simple as this, I lost the quarterback competition. That was very close. And even at that point, I really didn't have any intentions of transferring. Coach O'Brien and I had gotten close. We had a unique relationship, and he was teaching us, an NFL playbook every single day. That was his big selling point in recruiting was, look, you're going to learn the Patriots offense. I'm a former Patriots offense coordinator. And we did, like, to a T. It was extremely complex, and but that was the whole reason I went there, right? So after the season, though, Coach O'Brien goes to Houston to coach the Texans. Well, we get a new coach who comes in, and anytime a new coach comes in, they kind of like to clean house, get their guys in. It's pretty much as simple as that. Like, you don't fit my system.
Oh, okay.
This kid does. Not asking you to leave, but I'm asking you to leave.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I ended up leaving, and we were looking at a couple schools and ended up settling with the University of Louisville, and they were just coming off like Sugar Bowl win. Teddy Bridgewater had just left. There was an opening, right? So I had to sit out my year due to transfer rules, and that was no big deal. And so kind of like pretty soon after I'm eligible, right, from sitting out, they're like, hey, you're going to be our guy. And I kind of knew that. It wasn't like a surprise. My sit out year and going into that was, it was really good, Mm-hmm. So everyone kind of knew, like, once Tyler's ready, he's going to take over. And we had a very decent year the year that I sat out. Well, in this next recruiting class comes in somebody named Lamar Jackson. And I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, like this is horrible, right? So Lamar comes in and it's like instantly just like boom, offense is shifting, culture's changing. This is who we're going with, you know? Bobby Petrino was our head coach there, and he was another guy that ran a very pro style offense, big 5-step, 7-step drops, driving the ball downfield, and that just fit me perfectly, you know? So Lamar comes in and a whole shift in everything we did offensively, which was pretty much just like polar opposite of what I was good at, right? So now I kind of am thinking, okay.
Now this is what, your sophomore year now?
This is my junior year.
Okay.
So I'm thinking, all right, you know, as a quarterback, you never want to transfer. It's a red flag. But what do I leave again? Do I just declare?
Yeah.
What, you know, this is weird, right? And so, yeah, you know, my dad and I mean, we talk probably every day, just like, Dad, look, I just spent 2 years here at Louisville, and, you know, this guy is about to win the Heisman, you know, but I'm not in that realm of being a normal backup quarterback of someone that doesn't, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I was like, I need to play. So anyway, so I really didn't know what to do. And I was actually golfing in Louisville, and ran into the head coach of Western Kentucky, who was from Louisville. And he was like, hey, come here. He's like, come play. So, you know, Western Kentucky was actually, they're in Conference USA, and they were coming off of their first top 25 finish ever. And so we went there, and I did my senior year there, and we had a good time, and we won a conference championship. But I knew going into the draft, I said, okay, 0 chance I'm getting drafted. Like, no chance. Because I've not only transferred once, now I've transferred twice. So the first time is, okay, new coach comes in, you know, we get it. Second time is you might be the issue, right?
Yeah.
You have a character problem. Is there something that you're doing that you can't buy into one program, but now you can't buy into 2 programs, right? So you start to, people don't quite feel sorry for you anymore. Like, look, you had 1 chance. Now you had 2 chances.
Yeah.
Right. So the Titans actually started doing kind of, I don't know, they came in and did a pre-draft workout for me in Bowling Green, Kentucky, which is where Western Kentucky is. And then each team gets, I don't know exactly the number, maybe around 30, but a number of visits that they can use to bring players into their facility, right? To work them out and put them on the board and talk to the GM and everybody. So those visits are kind of special, right? Because they get only a certain amount. Yeah. Well, they use one of those visits on me. So I'm thinking, okay, we'll probably get a free agent deal here from them, you know, whether it's small or big, whatever. They'll probably at least invite us to camp. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So then I had, you know, the last part of your whole pre-draft process is pro day, right? So I go to pro day and just absolutely tear it up. It was like one of the best days throwing I'd ever had. And so we end up leaving pro day, and my agent's like, hey, you're probably going to get, you know, 6 or 7 offers here after the 7th round. So the draft comes and goes, and Tennessee actually called my agent like at the start of the 7th round and just stayed on the phone with them for the whole 7th round, because they can technically sign you as soon as that last pick is submitted. But they can't negotiate a contract with you like, hey, we don't want to draft you with this pick, but you know what I mean? So they have to wait. So we did, so that we waited, and I developed a relationship with them. And so I ended up signing with them. But yeah, that was probably, I mean, just to answer your like original question, there was the moment was more like I got to college and thought, okay, I can become a 1st round pick or 2nd round pick. Like, I know I can do it.
Right.
And then I just slowly saw it just like literally going like, okay, I could probably still sneak in the 3rd round. Like, all right, if I can sneak in the 5th round, right? And then it was like, all right, I just need to get signed, right? Just because I'm
somewhere.
Yeah, because like every year it just got worse and worse and worse. And it just literally by the end of it going into pro day, I'm like, I hope the CFL would take me at this point, right? So it was, it just sucked. Like, college was horrible. You know, I hated it. I didn't hate I loved being on the teams and competing, but just the end result of everything was just like, man, that was, I don't think we could have scripted that to go worse. And, you know, it goes so fast too.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you start thinking about stuff you could have done different and stuff you think you did right and you didn't do right. And should I have just stayed? Should I have never left? But once I finally signed and I was in Tennessee and then I made the team, that stuff doesn't matter.
So that's an amazing story. Your trail to the NFL isn't what most kids probably think it's going to be. Like, okay, I was a starter in high school where I lit it up, which, I mean, you did, of course. But then you go to college and every single year is just perfect. Mm-hmm. I broke another school record in yards per throw or most yards per year, or most touchdown, whatever. And then essentially, not everybody's the Lamar Jackson route. Right. And it's got to be inspiring for young kids to say, you know what, I can take the unconventional, just work my ass off route. Things can go wrong. Things may not work out, but I can still make it to the show.
No, absolutely. I mean, I don't know, very few guys, just like they show up and start for 4 years in college. And like you said, break the records. And I mean, it obviously happens,
and those are the ones you see because everybody's watching draft day. Yeah. So those guys going on the first, second.
Yeah.
I don't know how deep, but the guys you watch get drafted, that's the route they probably took.
Well, I remember, like kind of the first couple of weeks in Tennessee, my rookie year, you start to realize like, okay, I don't know. And I like definitely think I'm a football junkie, right? Like I could tell you.
I would think so.
I could tell you where every quarterback went to college from 1980 till today, right? And it's like, I got in the locker room and I'm like, I don't know who half of these people are, right? And you start to realize like, well, this guy is a defensive tackle who went to South Alabama and is a 15-year NFL vet. And this guy went to West Connecticut State and is a safety and he's going on year 9. Well, this guy, you know what I mean? Yeah. So you start to realize like, where's all the guys from USC and Michigan and Notre Dame and Alabama, right? And they're there, right? But the NFL is made up of like those 5th, 6th, 7th free agent guys that got no glory, no fame, made their way up, right? And have just stuck out and made these great careers. And, obviously like for quarterbacks and it's a little bit different. You get your Tony Romos and your guys that come out of nowhere, but the majority of your team is made up of just like guys that just got it out of the dirt and, came from somewhere Northwestern State and made it, and I thought that was interesting, So
I want to go back to your Penn State experience. You mentioned that the coach there had a pro offense. Mm-hmm. And that was the draw. Is there a balance between your physical ability and your ability to be able to learn an offense?
Yeah, for sure.
Read defense. What's the split? Is it even or? Because I'm assuming by the time you get to that level, everybody's physically good.
Yeah. So
everybody can throw the ball a mile or.
Right. Yeah. So like in college, the recruiters want the guys that are big and have the cannons for an arm or that are fast. And they don't really do too much digging into like how intellectual you are and what are your study habits and what are your party habits and what's your home life like. And they're just like, oh, you're 6'5" and you can throw it 50 yards. Yeah, come on, we'll take it. Yeah. And they miss a lot of guys. Like if you go and look at all of these guys that are 5-star, 4-star guys, maybe 2 of those guys get drafted. But then if you look at every draft class, these 3-star, 2-star guys, that are going to smaller schools, but that aren't getting the powerhouse offers, those guys end up making it. And it's because, well, maybe this guy's not 6'6", but he's 6'1", but he has phenomenal study habits. He's a film junkie, and he knows more about this offense than the quarterback coach does. Those are the guys that make it. If you look at in the NFL, all of these backup quarterbacks that have played like 14, 15 years, really, like if you saw them throw, you'd be pretty unimpressed. You'd be like, okay, really? Okay. But they know more about every single defensive coordinator's defense and who's where. And well, this guy was a linebacker coach in Baltimore, and now he's a defensive coordinator in Indy. And when my second year we played against them, they did this. And, they're just another extension of the coaching staff that's usually there to help your star quarterback. Yeah. Right. So like I believe in Kansas City, Chad Henne is the backup to Patrick Mahomes. Well, right. Patrick Mahomes is amazing.
Right.
But they have Chad Henne, who's like a 16-year vet who, had his time, but I'm sure there's more talented guys than him that could be in that role. But Chad Henne probably knows more about defenses and quarterback play and little things that he can tell Patrick on a day-to-day basis in their quarterback room than some 6'4", 240-pound quarterback from this college that can throw it 80 yards could do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So in that role of comfort and security, in the backup role in the NFL, that's what they want, and that's what you should want,
Yeah.
You kind of experiment, right, with guys. You see some of these first round picks who end up being busts, like they're 6'6", and they can do anything they want with the arm, but if you miss like the mental side of things, right, you're gonna hit bust. You're gonna hit bust all day.
Right.
So those are the guys that really succeed, and then the guys that have both, those are your superstars. Like everybody has one or the other. But if you are really smart but not talented, there's a spot for you.
Yeah.
If you're really talented but you're not very smart, there's not a spot for you. But if you have both, that's who's going to be.
That's who's going to rise.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And maybe it all takes hard work.
Yeah.
All takes consistent work.
Absolutely.
And that's what people just have to know. Like, yeah, I'm physically talented. And yes, I am. My football IQ is high.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a lot of people have more of it naturally than others.
Yeah.
But it's still at that level, you're working your ass off to get there.
Yeah.
How big of a difference is the game between D1 and NFL? How much faster is it? How much were you like, holy crap, everything's a lot. Was it a significant difference, or are you just working your way into it so long that it's not a big leap?
Yeah, I think it's different based off of what role you come into. So like if you come in as a first round pick and day one, you're with the ones versus the ones, and you have, the pressure of being the first overall or a top 2-round pick. I'm talking from a quarterback's perspective.
Right.
It's probably pretty fast. Me coming in as an undrafted guy that fortunately had learned 2 NFL systems in college, and I knew how to call a 15-word play in the huddle, and I knew how to check versus, 1 high or 2 high, or can or run versus an over and an under front. Like that stuff to me was super easy because I just learned that from Coach O'Brien for 2 years, right? And then on top of that, I'm running with the threes in practice. So I'm not going against NFL veterans. I'm going against other undrafted players.
Right.
Right. So to me, the speed was very easy and normal, and almost in a way kind of easier than college, because I was the type of quarterback that give me all the information you can give me. You want to give me a 16-word play that has 2 kills and 1 check, please let me have it, because then I can have no problem getting us in the right play and doing stuff. Whereas in college, you give me 1 signal and it's like an air raid offense, and I'm up there just clapping, right? I kind of struggled with that a little bit.
Okay.
So coming in, running with the threes and the other undrafted guys and the low round pick guys, no, there's not a huge change. Coming in day one and instantly going with the ones, yeah, that's a bit of a difference, and yeah, they're just faster. But really the thing is what they show you on a defensive side of the ball. Like let's say in college you can get 20 different looks, and that might be pushing it. Let's say 10. Well, then you get to the NFL and they can give you 40 different looks.
Yeah.
But you have to have an answer for all 40.
Yeah.
At least you have to know somewhat where to go with the ball. You don't have to have an answer, but you got to know, I think it's this.
Yeah.
So if I'm wrong, where's the ball going? If I'm right, where's the ball going?
Right. Right.
So yeah, I think, I might have a completely different perception on it if I came in day one and they were like, you're with the ones, see ya.
So you enjoying the intellectual part of the game, the complex plays, learning the defenses. Is that to move on to what you're doing now, Ferguson Athletics, and coaching these young quarterbacks? Is that what drew you? Is that what made you want to, I want to go instill what I enjoy about the game and the intelligence part of it, obviously along with the physical part of it. Yeah. Is that what made you want to go into what you're doing now?
I think first, there really wasn't really anybody doing it in the Valley. I mean, Roger Carr has been doing it for a long time, and I love Roger. But there wasn't like, I just remember all the Bakersfield quarterbacks always going down south, like always going down south. And I was like, why can't there be a guy that all the Bakersfield guys stay, and then the Fresno guys come, and maybe the Santa Maria guys come? You know what I mean? Like kind of that 2.5 hour radius. Why can't they come here? Why do we all have to go down south? So that was like the original thinking behind it. And then, I got like a communications degree, right? But school was like definitely not a priority in college, right or wrong. Just call it how it is. It wasn't. It was football or nothing.
Understood.
So
you had a goal. You're going to the NFL.
Yeah. So, I kind of felt like, all right, well, I have like this PhD in quarterback play, right? Like I've learned from some really great coaches. I've experienced every level. I've actually gotten to experience a couple seasons in the NFL. So I kind of felt like I know at least what is meaningful to teach kids. And then the stuff that maybe does get taught that just means nothing, So like we came back to town like right after my third year and kind of started it up. And now I didn't think it was going to turn into kind of what it is now. I thought I probably might have to do something else, find a job or who knows.
Right.
But I just kind of started picking up. And then, I just put like 1,000% effort into it. And, we train 7 days a week. And, our scheduling book is from 4 a.m. to 10 p.m. So, I try to revolve around the parent schedules, around the kids' schedules, around your daughter's swim lesson schedules, or whatever.
Right.
But I wanted to make sure that like, if you want to train, I will get you in. I'm not just going to do Tuesdays and Thursdays at 6. And so that kind of opened it up and that got the ball rolling a little bit more. And then, I just like fell in love with it instantly. Just love it, love working with quarterbacks. We kind of do 2 different things. So I do field work wise, just strictly really quarterbacks. And then we do weight room training. That's not necessarily marketed as much. That's more of kind of like a, if people come to us and ask for a certain thing in the weight room, we'll do that. We don't really market like the weight room stuff. But I mean, on a day-to-day basis, we see a lot of quarterbacks and, a couple kids come in and do weight room stuff, but it's fun. It's a lot, but
I saw one of your posts about yourself. You reflected and you said, man, looking back, I wish I would have taken constructive criticism a little better.
For sure.
I think you mentioned, just the work ethic that it takes. And if I remember right, you said, if you want to go down this road, you can't live a regular life.
Yeah.
You've got to go down you just have to go. And saying that, so
right.
This is a fun interview because it's not where I'm at with my mass. It's, I'm at my age now. I'm like, hey, I want to just have fun and and stay fit and do all this and that. But people have to understand if you're going to go do what you want to do, whether pro or anything or high level of anything, even business, you have to go down that road of just all in.
Yeah, for sure.
And I remember your post and it just struck hard.
Yeah, I was like extremely, I guess like the easiest way to say it is I got, coaches would be like, you're just so uncoachable. You're so uncoachable. But I was so just like into it, right? And so I wanted to do things my way, but then I wanted to prove that my way was right.
Right.
Which like, you can't do that, right?
Yeah,
like that's not going to work. I think in business, if you're trying to work your way up or playing quarterback or whatever you're doing, like you have a coach for a reason. So in your 18-year-old brain, if you think that I have a better way to do this, well, you probably don't,
Yeah.
And I didn't really realize that until kind of like my senior year in college when it was like, dude, you're at your second school in 2 years and whoever the heck came in, and won Heisman or did this, at the end of the day, they wouldn't have went out and got those guys if they were 100% sold on you. Right. And so I just kind of had to think like, what am I doing that's rubbing people the wrong way? So like I lived and died by just having a cannon for an arm. So to me, I would learn a system very quickly. And I could have conversations with our coaches all day about this front or this coverage, or I like this and I like that. And it was great. But then when it came down to, hey, I want you to read it this way, boom, 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 I would be like, cool, well, I'm going to read it this way because I can make this throw and he can't.
Right.
Well, coaches hate that. You know what I mean? Like, this is my system. I designed it this way.
Would you please just follow
just
yours?
Run it this way, right?
Yeah.
And so I would just constantly go back and forth with coaches because then I would make a throw that was the wrong read. I think I had a coach at Louisville who said, Tyler's like the closest player to Brett Favre I've ever been around for all the wrong reasons. He goes, he makes throws that when we watch film, we go, holy crap, that's amazing. But then when we grade him, we'll give him, a check mark for the throw, but then a minus for the read, a minus for the execution, and a minus for, where the ball was supposed to go.
Yeah.
So it's like, hey, nice first down, but tone it down a little bit. Please don't do that. But I could never catch on with that. I would just be like, well, you see what I'm doing here, right? Like this is,
right.
So
it's almost like if you could go back and correct me if I'm wrong, but okay, I've got amazing talent. Mm-hmm. The heroics are going to come when they naturally come instead of trying to prove it on every play. Like, wait, watch me make this throw. Watch me. Watch me do this.
And, I don't really know where this came from. But I hated the mold of what a quarterback was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Like clean cut, kind of like a, maybe like a country club type of vibe.
Yeah,
hated it. Yeah. Like I wanted, long hair and have tattoos and to be like, this is who I am, but I'm also the best quarterback you got. Right. And that just doesn't work, because there's another kid out there that's probably just as good or better than you. That is how a coach wants his quarterback to be perceived. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was probably one of the biggest things for me is look, you can be an original version of yourself and you can do kind of what you want to do, but you have to do it within the confinements of your team and your coach. If you guys are traveling and everyone's supposed to wear gray jumpsuits, don't show up in a black one. Right.
Right.
Or if coach says, hey, no beards, cut your beard. Or I'd like you to wear some sleeves to cover up your tattoos on media day in front of the whole country.
Yeah.
Don't show up with a cutoff on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
There were just little things like that I would do that I didn't realize, or I did realize, but I never changed until, I was a little bit older. But that just crushed me, That is more so what I think back on of just what an idiot. Why couldn't you just buy in?
Man, I appreciate that self-reflection. That's a lot to admit to and say, hey, this is what I should have done.
Yeah.
Those are biggies. And guarantee the guys you're coaching are benefiting from that. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I mean, I try to talk to a lot of, and a lot of these quarterbacks, I get really close with, and some, closer than others. And, some are family to me, and I try to tell them, not in a structured way, just an organic, look, be yourself and have your own thoughts and, don't try to just be a yes man to your coaches. But on the same side, you work for this person. Right.
Yeah.
We don't have jobs and you don't, clock in every day, but your quarterback coach, your head coach is your boss. So if they need you to be a certain way, that's what you have to do.
Right.
Yeah.
So
I think the biggest thing too is having somebody away from the team and away from football that you can complain to or, talk positively with. But, I don't like that coach is making me do this, but I know that I have to do this. Okay, well then who's a person that you can call and vent to and talk to and, maybe realize wow, that's actually not that big of a deal. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, we try to get the kids to understand, like I just said, you can be your own person, but if you're choosing to try to be a big time quarterback, there's a certain path you need to at least be on.
Right. So to wrap all this up, what's your top advice to these young players? Not just quarterbacks, but what's your top advice to get them as far as they can go? What do they need to do?
Man, I don't know if I would just have one piece of advice.
That's all right. We have time. We'll lay it all out.
Yeah, well, I think picking who your influences are is a big deal. Not being around, you can have friends and stuff, but if you're not around a group of people that are going to uplift you or push you or support what you're doing, I don't think it's ever going to happen. Or if you have people constantly calling you out or questioning you for, eat, sleeping, and training, well, then I don't really need that person in my life. Like for me, and this is like not a huge deal at all in my eyes, but I kind of have like lost some friends over this, is I've never had alcohol before. And no real crazy reason as to why. I just never really wanted to be associated with the scene that was, because I was kind of doing my own thing.
I mean, you never had a drink?
No,
in your
never.
Life? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's.
So, and my point with that is just, there was nothing traumatic that happened, or like I'm never going to do this, but it was
personal
just
choice.
Yeah, just kind of like, this is what I want to do. I don't really want to be with that crowd, and it was more at a younger age, right?
Right.
Kind of when that stuff's starting to happen.
Yeah.
And I just kind of made the decision. Then you blink, and I'm 24, and it's like, well, I'm not going to start now, and then you just kind of never do. But I think who you surround yourself with, who's in your circle, is so big. Especially like in those teenage years, because you can be influenced so easily.
Yeah.
You can miss a workout and just be like, screw it, I'll be there tomorrow. But, you need people that support you. And I don't really mean from a parent's perspective, hopefully like everybody's parents support them.
Right.
But from a peer perspective,
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially young, it's so easy to get pulled in a wrong direction.
Yeah.
Even if it's not long-term wrong, but.
Yeah. No, I mean, and you just need friends that, like, and again, I didn't have any friends that worked out at 4 a.m. with me, but I had a lot of friends that were successful. So you guys don't have to be on the same page, right?
Right.
Like one of my best friends since I was 4 years old, him and his wife are my neighbors now. We hardly ever worked out together, like lifting ever, but he made it to the NFL too, Yeah. Everyone has different stuff, but, you just need that circle of people that understand, like, oh, this guy's on this plan. Well, support him,
Yeah.
I think that's huge. And then, I think from a quarterback's perspective, I'll kind of speak on older quarterbacks, like seniors getting ready to go to colleges. I think one of the most overlooked things is everybody wants to go to like the big powerhouse school and they want to do all that. You want to go to a place, if your goal is to go to the NFL, go to a place where you're going to play, 3 to 4 years, 2 to 4 years. Like, where can I go? And I know if I just do what I'm supposed to do, I will play and be a starter here. Because when it comes to that draft time, the NFL time, they're going to take the guy from North Dakota State that started for 4 years and has, 70% completion percentages and X amount of yards and touchdown interception ratio and over, 8 out of 10 games is a win, right? Over the kid that started for 1 year at Clemson, had an okay year, right? So I think from younger perspective, your circle you run with, and from an older perspective, Yeah,
your advice you just gave was amazing. It was, I'm glad you said it.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting, they've got to hit the weights hard. Or I don't know. I didn't have any necessarily answers in my head I thought you were going to say, but I think what you did give is perfect and probably much deeper and better than any advice to these young players. Really need to listen to what you just said.
Yeah.
It is so important to stay in the right direction, stay in your lane.
Yeah.
Stay on the right path and just make good choices.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think as far as like the weight training and the throwing, that's stuff that should just be, if you have goals that you want to achieve, that's stuff that no one should even have to ask you to do, and stuff that you shouldn't have to be like, well, if I do this, that's like your life, right? Like you don't think about brushing your teeth and you don't think about eating,
right?
Just what you do. So if you want to do that, working out and training, throwing that's just what you do. So, but yeah, that I think as far as the, your inner circle and who you keep around you and the decisions you make when your parents aren't there and the decisions you make on your own, that's the stuff that can make or break you. I I think so.
I think you're 100% right. And I want to thank you so much for coming on today and hearing you go into your self-reflection on, things you wish you would have done different and the advice you want to give these young players. Yeah. I hope you get all the success you deserve. And
thanks for having me.
So. Definitely, kids, you could get over to Ferguson Athletics and he's going to steer you in the right direction.
Appreciate you.
Thank you so much,
absolutely.
Man.